Hello guys, I am so excited to film this video. It has clearly been a really long time since I've done a wrap up because I was MIA the whole summer, and the reason for that is what I'm going to discuss in this video finally and gush about. Basically, I started I started watching the anime Jujustu Kaisen, and I got so obsessed with it. I have my Jujustu Kaisen shirt right here, which I just got this, and let me show you guys. It has Toji, who I don't even know if you can see this all the way, but I am obsessed with him from the manga. I will link, I think it's a Twitter store that I got this shirt from. But anyways, I watched the show Jujustu Kaisen and I was obsessed with it. I rewatched it like 3 times, and then I was like, okay, I have to read the manga. So I read all I believe 17 volumes of the manga within the space of like a weekend, and it was so good. It also takes a very dark turn from the first season of the anime, which is mostly really lighthearted and really happy. But basically, what this manga is about is, I'm not going to say how the protagonist gets involved in the world, because I think that's a really fun thing to kind of find out on your own, but you can easily look it up because it's in the description of most things. But basically this world is a world where there are curses, and these curses are created by the manifestation of negative emotion. So places like schools and hospitals have a lot of curse activity because of all the negative emotions that humans are feeling. And there are people called Jujustu sorcerers who have the ability to see these curses and also have the power to use Jujutsu, which is the magic in this world, to fight the curses. And basically, you get introduced to the very corrupt politics of this world. There are lots of amazing characters, and following the protagonist through this is so good. But then there is this relationship of 2 characters that is really vital to the whole storyline of this manga that I am just so obsessed with. If you've read the manga, I don't want to say it because it is a spoiler, but you know what this relationship is, and it is heartbreaking and it's so good. And every single week now I've been reading weekly. So yeah, you can see this is I don't have a lot of the covers. I don't have a lot of the physical volumes because they're so hard to find right now, but I can show you a nice close-up of this Nanami cover. But I read them all online on the Shonen Jump app, which is like $2 a month for all this manga that's on it. It has so much. It has Jujutsu Kaisen, Tokyo Ghoul, Death Note, Chainsaw Man, The Promised Neverland. Pretty sure, it has Black Clover. I think it has Naruto. It has JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It has Demon Slayer. And so all of those, you can read as much as you want. They have tons more too, and it's all for $2. So that was the best $2 I've ever spent in my life, because I read like all 17 of these, and then all 12 or 11 of Chainsaw Man, which I'm going to talk about next. So I was so excited when I got this app because I could read Chainsaw Man, which is super popular right now. And I always I'll get books like in the middle of the hype, but then my TBR is so long that I never actually get along to reading them until the hype's kind of died down. But this, I jumped on the hype and it was so worth it. It's very similar to Jujutsu Kaisen. I also don't want to say how the main protagonist gets involved in the world, but basically there are devils in this world, and the government commissions people to be devil hunters to hunt down the devils. And there are certain devils that have been detained by the government that you can make a deal with in exchange for something very valuable. You can receive powers that they then use to fight these devils. And it is a very good manga series. It's very unique. I think the scenes and the panels are so dramatic and just so well done that a lot of times they're just like shocking. And I have not read any other, I haven't read tons of manga, but it is like the most unique manga that I think that I've read. And it is also the most emotionally devastating thing I have ever read in my life. It is so sad. The snowball fight scene, I'm like, my eyes are watering just thinking about it. I will never be like as happy as I was like before I read that. Like, I think my happiness level is permanently lowered because of this series. I decided to read a few chapters during my lunch break in my car, and it was that scene, and I was sobbing uncontrollably in my car for 30 minutes. It is the most devastating thing I've ever read, but it was really good. And now that I've read both of these two very like emotionally devastating mangas, I'm like, I want more. I want to be hurt so bad. And so if you have any very sad and upsetting book recommendations, I want them. Please give them to me. I already have the Poppy War trilogy. I heard can be pretty rough, and that's on my radar. And I know that Song of Achilles is supposed to be rough, and that is something I'm going to be reading very soon just because of the fact that it's supposed to be sad. But yeah, so I was very just in a gloomy place after binge reading both of those, and my friend made me start to read the series. I actually have these books. A Court of Thorns and Roses. And so I read this book. Oh, I also didn't mention my ratings for all of the other ones. I gave like 5 stars to every single one. And I'm very sorry to whoever was friends with me on Goodreads who got spammed with like 30 volumes of manga within a week of me rating on Goodreads, but it happens. And so I read A Court of Thorns and Roses first. I read the series. I read the first 3 books during the summer, but I gave the first book, I think, 4 stars. It was super enjoyable. I wouldn't say that it was like good, but I really enjoyed the romance and everything through it. And I had already known some spoilers, so I kind of knew which characters were end game, and I was left a little confused at the end of this. But then I read A Court of Mist and Fury, and this truly blew the other one out of the water. It is insane how much I love this, and I was honestly like shocked that people hate this book in this series, and I don't understand how people hate it, but I guess it's things that are super popular. People always hate, and people have their certain tastes, but I loved this. This was truly the happiest thing I've ever read, which was an amazing contrast to reading this right after Chainsaw Man because I really needed it. But chapter, what was it? It's the chapter like 55. I was crying of like joy because I was so happy, and everything comes together in such a perfect way that I never saw coming, and like from the first book, and it was so good. I enjoyed this so much. Then I did read A Court of Wings and Fury. That is sitting on my nightstand. I can see it right now, but I'm not going to get up and get it. But I also rated that 5 stars just because I'm in love with the romance in it. It was very, very good. But this was truly incredible. I'm upset that I can never read it again for the first time, but I will be rereading it again. And honestly, I would say I'm just going to skip to this one, but knowing what I know from this one, I want to go back and read this one too because it's just so good. So I love these books. I am definitely going to be reading A Court of Frost and Starlight, and then A Court of Silver Flames after that, but those are some big books, so I need a little bit of a break in them. But basically, that was like my whole summer, and I was just rereading chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man, but mainly Jujutsu Kaisen, over and over and over again, and I still will do that today. I'll be like, oh, I should read, and then I'll be like, wait, remember that arc? Yeah, let's go and like read that arc all over again. And then I've probably read the whole manga like at least 4 times, but like certain chapters, like I've read chapter 90 like probably like 30 times because it makes me cry so hard, and I need to just keep doing it. But I did read one other book in the summer, or manga, and that is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I got this because I saw that my friend Erin got this book, and I was intrigued. It is about a boy who finds out his classmate is dying of pancreatic cancer, but she swears him to secrecy because she does not want any of their other classmates to know. And it is, you know, it's gonna be sad off the beginning. The cover is so pretty, but even like on the back, it's like a bittersweet romance. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be bittersweet. I was like, this is gonna hurt me. I bought it when I went to Barnes & Noble with my friend on a whim, and I read it that night, and it hurt me so bad. I did not see what was happening coming, and I was like crying for 20 minutes, convinced that like I would never be happy again. And then I like recovered, and like that is the kind of hurt that like I want. Like so sad, and then you're like, okay, you like get over it. But in the moment you're like, my heart is broken and it can never be put back together. It was so good. I know that there's, I think, a movie for this, an anime movie that I really want to watch because it was so beautiful, and the cover is just so pretty. I really want to display it. I have a very small manga collection, and like every single cover I like want to display, so that's a bit of a problem. But soon I think I will be reading and collecting a lot more manga, and I will get my own manga shelf. But I've also been slowly working through My Hero Academia online because I have just given up on the books, and honestly, you can kind of see them right here. The spines are not pretty, like, at all, compared to like the Jujutsu Kaisen or like any other manga spine. So I honestly do not think that I will be purchasing the rest of this series because it's a lot. They're on like volume 20 something, and that's a lot of money for books that don't even look pretty on my shelf. So I think I'll just be reading them online and working through that. But that has been my summer wrap up for these books that I did read and I really loved, but then I loved so much that I wasn't really doing anything else other than rereading them again. And so I will get back to you guys with an October reading update when I've actually started reading actual books again and not just obsessively rereading Jujutsu Kaisen. But with that, let me guys know if you liked any of these books. If you have read the Jujutsu Kaisen manga, message me privately on Twitter or Instagram because I want to talk about it so bad. It's all I think about. It's so good. And I will see you guys later. Bye.